So today's lesson is going to be about cross contour hand. So please label your sketchbook cross contour hand with the day, and your initial or name would be great too. So cross contour lines define the edges of forms. It's kind of like topography in a map. It tells you about how things move or how things are arranged in space. So what's going away from you, what's coming towards you, and it gives us a sense of volume. So today we're going to draw a hand, and I'm going to teach you how to kind of break that down better. So we'll start with a very basic kind of outline that's hopefully more proportional than some of the hands have been. And then we're going to overlay that with these cross contour lines as well. So to start out with, we're going to take a picture of your hand in some sort of formation. You can copy this hand if you would like to, and I'll give you a couple seconds to take like a screenshot or have this picture if you need it. It'll be up the whole video, but it will be kind of small. So first thing I want to do is I really like to establish the palm, because that's really the base of our whole hand. It's where your fingers attach to. Some people like to start with the fingers first, but if we were to break this down, I would say that the palm is the best place to start. And so you can see, if I get in kind of close and change my colors up, you can see that the base for this is really just a rectangle. So I'm gonna draw that rectangle. It's a very short rectangle in there. Next, I want the fingers. So initially when I draw the fingers, I just draw a line. So you see that this first one comes out of the edge of that rectangle that we have. It's not like anywhere towards the center of it, but it comes out of the edge. You want to compare how large the finger is compared to the palm. Some people have like equal size, some people have longer fingers. This time, this hand has kind of shorter fingers. So about this wide, and just a really simple line coming out of the hand. The other fingers, again, just very easily, I'm going to draw those in just as these very simple lines. And notice how far that they go. Notice like the curvature of them. So coming in from here and then going down about here. Next finger, you see that they go in this formation here and this formation here. So next finger is going to be here, and next finger is going to come out about there. So I have my 4 fingers at the top, then I'm going to add my thumb in. My thumb kind of attaches on its own. So try to get the height of it correctly. I'll draw that line so you can see where the thumb comes in from. And it attaches right down the bottom. I like to add this like little pad that occurs right under the thumb. Just like a little fat pad that lets your thumb kind of move around and lets you grip things better in your actual palm. Finally, we want to add in your wrist. So give a little bit of the arm. So now I've broken down the hand into just lines and proportions. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to start to block it out so that it looks like a bunch of forms instead. So again, I can start with my fingers since this is already a full shape. So I break this down into 1, 2, 3 little digits. And it's nice that I've already decided how long my finger is going to be, so I can focus on giving it a form rather than trying to make sure it's accurate. Next, I have this finger here. And at this stage, if you want to, you can already put in the fact that there's a nail. So I'm going to draw the nail. Notice that your nail doesn't literally go across your whole finger, right? So there's a little bit of space around your finger for the nails. So give it that little bit of space. Some people have longer nails, some people have shorter nails, and you can see the skin poking through on the other side. Just depends on the person. Next finger, same thing. So breaking those digits down. Giving a nail. And then my very last one. And this one's a little bit shorter than I drew it, so I will make it a little bit shorter in my finalized kind of drawing. Again, give it a nail. So fingers are looking good. I can connect the palm better into that finger and give it some of those ridges that I see. There's this portion like right here on the wrist that isn't really flat, right? You can kind of see these lines that curve and then turn into the wrist. And lastly, I'll deal with my thumb. So my thumb only breaks down into like two major parts. So the first part and then the second part in the back, and this nail kind of curves up at the end. If there's anything that you notice that's really off, then at this point you can fix it. Even though you see me drawing kind of dark right now, I am going to lighten it up a little bit, or at least clean it up. So you can go over all your lines one more time if you want to. Or just take your eraser and get rid of all of your really sketchy marks. And that's why, again, we like to sketch things kind of lightly so that this cleanup is a lot easier for us. So I'll clean things up really before I add any more details to this. But these act as my regular contour line, not my cross contour lines, but remember that again, contour means outline. So I have all my outlines essentially. I can add all these details. If you see any more specific lines in the hands, you can draw them, they might help you. And just indicate the wrist a little bit more. So next what we're going to do is add the cross contour lines on top of our hand. So if we break this down into simpler shapes, because this is a complex organic shape, we're going to use simpler forms. So your fingers, if you think about them, are really just cylinders that are stacked. So like 3 cylinders kind of stacked together are what your fingers are. And if you think of them that way, like one cylinder attached to another cylinder attached to another one, then you know how to do cylinders pretty easily. I can't see that bottom part, so I just skip to the actual body. And if you remember, you can add in all of those kind of ellipse shapes. This is a cylinder that's going away from us. So because it's going away from us towards that direction, we're going to get these curves that are following that direction. And if it helps you to draw the ellipses in there, then you're more than welcome to do that. But that's all I really need to do for now. I'll deal with the lines that go down in a little bit. I'm going to treat all of my fingers that way, so I like to break them down into cylinders. And see when lines are going away from you. At this like point where one of your knuckles is, one of the little digits, you can see that it kind of switches. And I'll skip the nails for now, and I'll give them their own treatment. So I'm going to do that in all of the fingers, these ellipses that go kind of down. Then they start to straighten up, and then they start to go away from us. Again, if I draw all those ellipses in there, it might be easier for you to visualize. So going away, kind of straightening out, and then switching up. I'll do the same with my thumb. So my thumb would attach like this. You can think of it as 2 cylinders, not 1. But it's still, these lines are going up and away. There you go. You can treat your hand the same way, so go in kind of across. What's interesting is that like kind of pad that we drew for your thumb gets almost its own special treatment. So that occurs here. And its curvature goes around like this. So it's kind of like a disturbance in your hand where the form looks a little bit different. So it starts to sort of switch around. Like this. But the rest of your hand is essentially just like a rectangle form. If you see it dip in, then you'll indicate that. And I have all these shapes to help me go around. Your wrist and your arm, we're also going to kind of simplify into a cylinder shape. So just kind of bigger ellipses and curves. These ones you can say are coming more towards you though. So now that we've done that, we can break down the cylinders a little bit better. So going through them are those lines. Dealing with the fingers is usually the easiest for me. Over here, I can see like those places where they angle differently, and I'll change my angles based on those. So they're not going to go straight like this, but they're going to follow any of those curves or folds that occur. Like I said, I'm not skipping the nails, I'm just going to give them their own treatment. They're a little bit smaller, so I like to make these kind of smaller lines so you can really tell that they're a different sort of surface. Alright, in my thumb, I have these lines that come over and down. You can kind of connect that into the rest of the hand. These ones we just bring down. And imagine that there's some lines going down the hand that way. And finally those would end up in our wrist and up into our arms. So it's okay if there's lines that don't like connect to each other. If I get rid of just my outline, you can still see what this form looks like.